The ballroom was drowning in white roses. Thousands of them covered every surface, their sweet perfume filling the air until it became almost suffocating. Crystal chandeliers cast golden light across 500 guests dressed in their finest clothes. Musicians played softly in the corner. Everything was perfect. Hannah stood at the altar in a wedding dress that cost more than her flower shop made in 10 years. Her hands trembled around the bouquet she had arranged herself. White roses, of course, his favorite. The flowers blurred as tears threatened to spill from her eyes. Across from her stood Jae-won Shin, the most dangerous man in South Korea. His black suit fit perfectly on his tall frame. His dark eyes watched her with an expression she couldn't read. Handsome, terrifying. Her husband in less than 5 minutes. The officiant's voice droned on about love and commitment. Hannah heard none of it. Her mind was trapped 30 minutes in the past, replaying the conversation she was never meant to hear. She had been in the bridal suite, making final adjustments to her veil. The door to the adjoining room was slightly open. She heard Jae-won's voice, cold and clear as winter ice. After the ceremony ends, eliminate her. Make it look like an accident. The marriage must be official before she dies. Then Dae-jung's response, calm and professional. Understood. I'll handle it personally. Hannah froze. Her blood turned to ice water in her veins. She pressed her hand against the wall to keep from collapsing. The man she was about to marry had just ordered her death. Now she stood before him, smiling for the cameras, playing the role of a blushing bride while her heart screamed at her to run. But she couldn't run. Guards stood at every exit. Jae-won's men were everywhere, disguised as waiters and guests. She was trapped in a cage made of roses and silk. Do you, Jae-won Shin, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do. His voice was steady, confident, the voice of a man who always got what he wanted. The officiant turned to her. And do you, Hannah Cho, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? 500 people waited for her answer. Cameras flashed. Somewhere in the crowd, her brother, Sung-ho, watched with guilt-filled eyes. She wanted to scream the truth at everyone. This man is going to kill me. Help me, please. But no one would help. These people feared Jae-won more than they cared about her. She was alone. I do. The words tasted like ash on her tongue. The officiant smiled warmly, oblivious to the horror unfolding before him. Then, by the power vested in me, I pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Jae-won stepped closer. His hand cupped her face gently, almost tenderly. His thumb brushed away a tear she hadn't realized had fallen. The guests probably thought it was a tear of joy. He leaned in to kiss her. His lips were warm against hers, soft and brief. When he pulled back, his dark eyes searched her face with something that almost looked like concern. Hannah couldn't take it anymore. She leaned close to his ear, her lips barely moving as she whispered words meant only for him. I know what you're planning. Jae-won's body went rigid. His eyes widened with something she didn't expect. Confusion. Genuine confusion, as if he had no idea what she meant. Before he could respond, the world exploded. Gunshots shattered the perfect silence. Guests screamed and dove under tables. The beautiful rose arrangements fell as people crashed into them. Armed men in black masks stormed through the ballroom doors, weapons raised. Jae-won moved faster than she thought possible. He grabbed Hannah and threw both of them behind the massive stone altar. Bullets sparked off the marble inches from their heads. Hannah pressed against the cold stone, her wedding dress pooling around her like spilled milk. Chaos erupted everywhere, screaming, shooting, glass breaking. And all she could think was that 6 months ago, she was just a florist, a simple woman with a small shop and a troubled brother. How had everything gone so terribly wrong? 6 months earlier, Hannah was arranging sunflowers in her tiny shop when the bell above the door chimed. 3 men in black suits walked in. They didn't look like customers. The tallest one stepped forward. His face was scarred, his eyes empty of warmth. Hannah Cho. She gripped the flower scissors tighter. Yes, can I help you? Your brother Sung Ho owes our boss 200 million won. He has 1 week to pay. If he doesn't, we take his life. The man placed a business card on the counter. Contact us when you have the money. They left without another word. Hannah stared at the card, her hands shaking. 200 million won? She didn't make that in 5 years. That night, she confronted Sung Ho at his apartment. He broke down immediately, tears streaming down his face. He confessed everything: the underground gambling, the loans from dangerous people, the debts that grew bigger every month. I tried to win it back, he sobbed. I thought I could fix it. I'm so sorry, Hannah. I'm so sorry. She held her little brother like she had when they were children, after their parents died in the car accident. She had raised him alone since she was 17, fed him, clothed him, protected him from the world. She would not let him die. The next morning, Hannah researched the name on the business card, Jae-won Shin. What she found terrified her. He controlled the largest criminal organization in South Korea. Drugs, weapons, gambling, everything illegal passed through his hands. People called him the Ghost because enemies who crossed him simply disappeared. Normal people ran from men like Jae-won Shin. But Hannah had no money, no connections, no power. Running meant watching her brother die. So she decided to do something insane. She went directly to the monster himself. Jae-won's headquarters was a glass tower in the heart of Seoul. Security guards stopped her at the lobby. She refused to leave. When they tried to remove her, she screamed loud enough for everyone to hear. Tell Jae-won Shen that Hannah Cho wants to discuss her brother's debt. I won't leave until he sees me. The guards looked at each other nervously. No one made scenes at this building. No one demanded meetings with the boss. They made calls. 15 minutes later, Hannah was escorted to the top floor. The office was cold and minimalist. White walls, black furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Jae-won sat behind a massive desk, watching her enter with curious eyes. He was younger than she expected, 34, maybe 35. Sharp features, dark hair pushed back from his forehead. Handsome in the way predators were beautiful. Dangerous. You are either very brave or very stupid, he said. His voice was smooth and calm. Which is it? Desperate. Hannah forced herself to stand tall. My brother owes you money he can't pay. I'm here to make a deal. Jae-won leaned back in his chair. What could you possibly offer me? Your flower shop? It's worthless. Your life? Also worthless. Anything, Hannah's voice cracked. I'll work for you forever. Clean your floors, arrange your flowers, anything. Just don't kill him. He's all I have left. Something flickered in Jae-won's eyes. He studied her for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Why come alone? Why not run? Because running means he dies, and I've already lost my parents. I won't lose him too. Silence stretched between them. Then Jae-won stood and walked to the window, staring at the city below. I need a wife, he said quietly. What? A fake wife, for political reasons. Marry me for 1 year. Play the devoted spouse in public. After 12 months, we divorce quietly. I'll erase your brother's debt and give you enough money to disappear forever. Hannah's mind spun. A marriage to a mafia boss, living in his world, pretending to love a killer. But the alternative was Sung Ho's death. If I agree, you swear my brother lives. Jae-won turned to face her. You have my word. Hannah looked at his extended hand. Cold, powerful, terrifying. She shook it. Deal. Hannah's new life began the next morning. A black car arrived at her tiny apartment before sunrise. 2 women in expensive suits stepped out, introduced themselves as her styling team, and informed her she had 30 minutes to pack her most important belongings. She brought 3 things: a photo of her parents, a worn stuffed rabbit Sung-ho had given her on her 20th birthday, and a single dried rose from the first arrangement she ever sold. Everything else, they told her, would be replaced. The car drove her across Seoul to Jae-won's penthouse. It occupied the entire top floor of a building that touched the clouds. The elevator opened directly into the living space, revealing rooms larger than her entire flower shop. White marble floors, furniture that looked afraid of being touched, windows everywhere, making the city below seem small and unimportant. Hannah felt like a stray cat brought into a palace. "Your bedroom is down the hall," Daejong said. He had been waiting when she arrived. Jae-won's second-in-command watched her with suspicious eyes. "Mr. Shin's room is on the opposite end. You are not to enter without permission." "I understand." "Your training begins today. Walking, speaking, dining etiquette, fashion. You have 3 months to become someone worthy of standing beside Mr. Shin." His tone made clear he doubted she could succeed. The following weeks blurred together. Tutors arrived daily, teaching her how to hold a wine glass, how to make conversation with powerful people, how to walk in heels without stumbling. Stylists transformed her appearance. Her simple clothes were replaced with designer dresses. Her plain haircut became an elegant style. Makeup artists taught her techniques that took an hour each morning. She barely recognized herself in the mirror. Jae-won remained distant during this time. They passed each other in hallways, exchanged polite nods, but rarely spoke. He left before dawn and returned after midnight. Hannah heard him sometimes, pacing in his office, making phone calls in harsh tones. She also heard other things: nightmares, his voice crying out in broken fragments through the walls, words she couldn't understand, a name that sounded like mother. One night, sleep refused to come. Hannah wandered to the kitchen for tea, expecting to find it empty. Instead, Jae-won sat at the counter in darkness, staring at nothing. A glass of whiskey sat untouched before him. She froze in the doorway. "I'm sorry, I'll leave." "Stay." His voice was rough, tired. "I don't mind." Hannah hesitated, then moved to the kettle. She prepared tea in silence, hyper-aware of his presence. When she finally sat across from him, he spoke again. "Why flowers?" The question surprised her. "What do you mean?" "Why become a florist? You could have done anything after your parents died." Hannah wrapped her hands around the warm cup. After the accident, everything felt ugly. The world, the people in it, even myself. She paused, remembering those dark months. But flowers didn't care about my pain. They just bloomed anyway. They brought beauty into ugly places without asking for anything in return. Jae-won listened without interrupting. His dark eyes reflected the city lights outside. "They don't lie," Hannah continued softly. "They don't betray. They just exist, honestly, for however long they have. I needed that honesty when everything else felt fake." Silence settled between them. Hannah expected him to dismiss her words as foolish or sentimental. Instead, he said something that cracked the ice around him. "My mother loved flowers. White roses especially." His voice dropped lower. "She said they represented hope, that even in darkness, beautiful things could grow." Hannah stared at him. This was not the monster she expected. This was a man carrying wounds she couldn't see. What happened to her? Jae-won's jaw tightened. He finished his whiskey in one swallow and stood abruptly. "She died. A long time ago." He walked away without another word, disappearing into the shadows of the penthouse. Hannah sat alone in the kitchen, her tea growing cold, realizing that Jae-won Shin was far more complicated than the world believed. And somewhere beneath her fear, something else was beginning to grow. Something dangerous. The engagement announcement sent shockwaves through Seoul. Every newspaper carried the story, Every television station showed their photo, the mysterious woman who captured Jae-won Shin's heart. Nobody knew where she came from. Nobody understood how a simple florist had landed the most dangerous bachelor in South Korea. Hana read the headlines with growing anxiety. Each article invented new details about her life, lies printed as truth, a fairy tale romance that never existed. But one person wasn't buying the story. Minister Kwon stood in his mansion, crushing the newspaper in his fist. His daughter Mi-rae sat nearby, her beautiful face twisted with rage. "This is unacceptable," Minister Kwon growled. "We spent 5 years positioning you to marry him, 5 years of planning, and he chooses some nobody florist?" "She's nothing," Mi-rae spat. "A cockroach he picked off the street. I should be standing beside him. Me, not her." Minister Kwon paced the room, his mind calculating options. "We'll destroy her, find her weaknesses. Everyone has secrets. Everyone can be broken. And if she can't be broken?" Minister Kwon smiled coldly. "Then she'll be removed, permanently." The engagement party arrived on a cool autumn evening. The venue was a luxury hotel transformed into a garden paradise. Ice sculptures glittered between flower arrangements. A string quartet played classical music. Politicians mingled with businessmen, all pretending they weren't terrified of the groom. Hana wore an emerald dress that hugged her figure elegantly. Her hair was swept up, revealing diamond earrings Jae-won had sent to her room that morning. No note accompanied them, just the jewels in a velvet box. She took her place beside Jae-won, her hand resting on his arm as they'd practiced. He looked devastating in a charcoal suit, his presence commanding attention without effort. "Smile," he murmured without moving his lips. Hana smiled. Her cheeks ached from the effort. Guests approached in an endless stream. Congratulations, compliments, questions wrapped in polite curiosity. Hana answered carefully, using the lines she'd rehearsed. Yes, they met through mutual friends. Yes, it was love at first sight. Yes, she was incredibly lucky. The lies tasted bitter on her tongue. But one person wasn't buying the story. Minister Kwon stood in his mansion, crushing the newspaper in his fist. His daughter Mi-rae sat nearby, her beautiful face twisted with rage. "This is unacceptable," Minister Kwon growled. "We spent 5 years positioning you to marry him, 5 years of planning, and he chooses some nobody florist?" "She's nothing," Mi-rae spat. "A cockroach he picked off the street. I should be standing beside him. Me, not her." Minister Kwon paced the room, his mind calculating options. "We'll destroy her, find her weaknesses. Everyone has secrets. Everyone can be broken. And if she can't be broken?" Minister Kwon smiled coldly. "Then she'll be removed, permanently." The engagement party arrived on a cool autumn evening. The venue was a luxury hotel transformed into a garden paradise. Ice sculptures glittered between flower arrangements. A string quartet played classical music. Politicians mingled with businessmen, all pretending they weren't terrified of the groom. Hana wore an emerald dress that hugged her figure elegantly. Her hair was swept up, revealing diamond earrings Jae-won had sent to her room that morning. No note accompanied them, just the jewels in a velvet box. She took her place beside Jae-won, her hand resting on his arm as they'd practiced. He looked devastating in a charcoal suit, his presence commanding attention without effort. "Smile," he murmured without moving his lips. Hana smiled. Her cheeks ached from the effort. Guests approached in an endless stream. Congratulations, compliments, questions wrapped in polite curiosity. Hana answered carefully, using the lines she'd rehearsed. Yes, they met through mutual friends. Yes, it was love at first sight. Yes, she was incredibly lucky. The lies tasted bitter on her tongue. Then Mi-rae appeared. She glided toward them in a red dress designed to steal attention. Her smile was beautiful and venomous. She kissed Jae-won's cheek lingeringly before turning to Hana. So you're the famous bride. Mireille looked her up and down slowly. What a charming dress. It almost makes you look like you belong here. Hana felt the insult beneath the words. Thank you. Red suits you. Very bold. I've known Jaewon for years, you know. Our families are practically joined already. Everyone expected us to marry. Mireille's smile sharpened. It must be overwhelming for you, going from a tiny flower shop to all of this. Try not to wilt under the pressure, little flower. Heat rose in Hana's cheeks, but she kept her composure. Flowers are stronger than people think. They push through concrete to find sunlight. They survive storms that destroy everything around them. Mireille's eyes narrowed. How poetic. We'll see how long your petals last in this garden. She walked away, leaving her threat hanging in the air like poison. Later, Dae-jung pulled Jaewon aside. Hana watched from across the room, seeing their serious expressions. When Jaewon returned, tension lined his shoulders. What's wrong? She asked quietly. Nothing you need to worry about. We said we're partners in this, at least for the year. Partners share information. Jaewon studied her for a moment, something unreadable in his eyes. Minister Kwon is planning something, we don't know what yet, but the timing with our engagement concerns me. Mireille threatened me, politely but clearly. Stay away from her, from both of them. They're more dangerous than they appear. After the guests left, Hana found herself alone on the hotel balcony. The city sparkled below like scattered diamonds. Her feet ached from heels, her face hurt from smiling. Jaewon joined her silently, standing close enough that she felt his warmth. You did well tonight, he said. I feel like a doll someone keeps posing. A ghost of a smile crossed his lips. Then it vanished. Hana turned to face him, needing to know something that had haunted her for weeks. Will I survive this year? Jaewon met her eyes directly. I don't know, but I'll try to make sure you do. It wasn't comforting, but it was honest, and somehow that meant more than any pretty lie. 2 months before the wedding, something unexpected happened. Hana started feeling at home. The penthouse no longer felt like a prison. She knew which floorboards creaked, which windows caught the morning sun, which corner of the kitchen had the best light for reading. And Jaewon no longer felt like a stranger. They ate dinner together most evenings now. Small conversations grew longer. He asked about her childhood. She asked about his business, the parts that weren't dangerous. Sometimes they sat in comfortable silence, needing no words. One night, Hana made a joke about his serious expression. Jaewon laughed, actually laughed. The sound was rusty, like something unused for years, but it was real. Hana caught herself thinking about him when he wasn't there, wondering if he'd eaten, hoping his meetings went well, noticing how her heart raced when he walked into a room. These feelings terrified her. She was supposed to be acting, pretending. This was a business arrangement, not a romance. In 10 months, she would walk away with money and freedom. Falling for Jaewon Shin was not part of the plan. But hearts don't follow plans. Meanwhile, in a warehouse across the city, Sung-ho knelt on a cold concrete floor. Armed men surrounded him. Minister Kwon stood above, looking down with disgust. Your sister has caused me significant problems, Minister Kwon said calmly. She stole something that belonged to my daughter. Now you'll help me take it back. Sung-ho's voice shook. I don't understand. Hana hasn't done anything wrong. She's marrying Jaewon Shin. That's wrong enough. Minister Kwon crouched to meet Sung-ho's eyes. You're going to help us destroy him from the inside. Your sister has access to his home, his conversations, his secrets. You'll get that information for us. I can't. She's my sister. I won't betray her. Minister Kwon smiled coldly. Then you both die, tonight, and we'll find another way to destroy Shin. Your choice. Sung-ho trembled. He thought of Hana, how she'd sacrificed everything to save him, how she was living with a monster because of his gambling debts. He couldn't let her die because of him again. But he couldn't betray her either. Could he? Your debts disappear permanently, Minister Kwan continued. You and your sister get new identities, new lives. All you have to do is plant a small listening device in her purse. We handle the rest. Sung-ho closed his eyes. Tears leaked down his cheeks. If I do this, you promise she won't be hurt? You have my word. It was a lie. Sung-ho suspected it was a lie, but fear made him weak, and weakness made him desperate. Okay, he whispered. I'll do it. 3 days later, Sung-ho met Hana for dinner at a small restaurant. She was so happy to see him, so proud of his progress at the rehabilitation facility. She hugged him tightly, telling him he looked healthier than ever. While she paid the bill, Sung-ho slipped the listening device into her purse. His hands trembled so badly he almost dropped it, but he succeeded. He hated himself immediately. Back at the penthouse, the device transmitted every conversation. Jaewon discussing shipment routes with Daejung, security details for the wedding, plans for a major deal happening the night before the ceremony. Minister Kwan received everything, his smile growing wider with each secret revealed. But Hana discovered the truth by accident. Her purse fell off the kitchen counter, contents scattering across the marble floor. Among the lipstick and keys, a small black device rolled into the light. She recognized it instantly. A listening device. Someone was spying on Jaewon through her. Her blood turned to ice. Only one person had touched her purse recently, Sung-ho. She met her brother in a quiet park the next afternoon. When she confronted him, he collapsed onto a bench, sobbing. Minister Kwan threatened to kill us both, he choked out. I was trying to protect you. I'm so sorry, Hana. Hana stared at him, her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. Her brother, her baby brother, the one she'd sacrificed everything for. He had destroyed her, and now she faced an impossible choice. Tell Jaewon and watch her brother die, or stay silent and let Jaewon walk into a trap. She had 1 week until the wedding, and no good options left. Hana didn't sleep that night. She sat in her dark bedroom, turning the listening device over in her hands. Such a small thing, such enormous destruction. By morning, she had made her choice. She found Jaewon in his office, reviewing documents before the chaos of the wedding day began. He looked up when she entered, surprised by her pale face and red eyes. What's wrong? Hana placed the device on his desk. I found this in my purse. Someone has been listening to your conversations, every plan, every secret. They know everything. Jaewon's expression hardened. He picked up the device, examining it carefully. Who? Minister Kwan. He forced Sung-ho to plant it. Hana's voice cracked. He threatened to kill us both if Sung-ho refused. My brother was trying to protect me. He was scared and weak and made a terrible choice. She expected rage, expected Jaewon to order Sung-ho's immediate death, expected punishment for her own failure to notice sooner. Instead, he was silent for a long moment. Why tell me? His voice was quiet. You could have stayed silent, let the trap close, protected your brother. Hana met his eyes directly. Because you trusted me, you brought me into your home, gave me a place at your side. You could have let Sung-ho die over his debt, but you chose to make a deal instead. She paused, steadying herself. I couldn't betray that, not even for my brother. Something shifted in Jaewon's face. The ice melted slightly, revealing something vulnerable beneath, something human. Minister Kwan knows about the deal tomorrow night, Hana continued. He's planning to ambush you, use whatever you discussed with Daejung against you. Jaewon nodded slowly. Then we adjust our plans. He spent the entire night making calls. Daejung came and went, receiving new instructions. Routes were changed, security was doubled, traps were set for those expecting to spring their own. Hana tried to stay awake, wanting to help somehow, but exhaustion eventually claimed her. She fell asleep on the office couch, Jaewon's voice murmuring in the background. Morning arrived too quickly. Hana was swept into the bridal suite by her styling team. They worked frantically, transforming her into a bride worthy of photographs. White dress, delicate veil, perfect makeup hiding the dark circles under her eyes. She stared at her reflection without recognition. The woman in the mirror looked beautiful, elegant, happy. Inside, Hana felt nothing but dread. Mireille visited 30 minutes before the ceremony. She wore a guest dress that nearly outshone the bride. Her smile dripped with false sweetness. "You look lovely," Mireille purred. "Enjoy it while you can. Jaewon has a habit of disposing things when they're no longer useful, wives included." "What are you talking about?" Mireille laughed softly. "You really think this is real, that he cares about you? You're a tool, little flower, and tools get thrown away when the job is done. You won't survive the honeymoon." She left before Hana could respond. The words burrowed into Hana's mind like poison. Was Mireille just being cruel, or did she know something? Then Hana heard voices through the slightly open door, Jaewon and Daejung in the adjoining room. "After the ceremony ends, eliminate her." Jaewon's voice was cold, clear, unmistakable. "Make it look like an accident. The marriage must be official before she dies." Daejung responded calmly. "Understood. I'll handle it personally." Hana stumbled backward, her hand pressed against her mouth to stop the scream building in her throat. Everything collapsed around her. The dinners, the conversations, the laughter. The moment she thought she saw something real in his eyes. All lies. He had been planning her death from the beginning. She wanted to run, but guards blocked every exit. She was trapped in her white dress, surrounded by roses, walking toward her own funeral. The ceremony began. She moved down the aisle in a daze. Jaewon waited at the altar, devastatingly handsome in his black suit. His eyes watched her approach with something that looked almost like tenderness. More lies. She said her vows mechanistically, signed the papers, let him lift her veil. When he leaned in for the kiss, she whispered against his lips, "I know what you're planning." His eyes widened with confusion. Then the gunshots began. Glass exploded everywhere. Guests screamed, diving beneath tables as bullets tore through the beautiful decorations. White rose petals scattered like snow in a hurricane. Jaewon moved instantly. He grabbed Hana and threw them both behind the massive stone altar. His body covered hers, shielding her from the chaos erupting around them. This made no sense. Why protect someone he ordered dead? Armed men in black masks flooded through every entrance. Daejung and Jaewon's security team engaged them in a brutal firefight. Tables overturned, chandeliers crashed down. The beautiful ballroom transformed into a war zone. Minister Kwon walked through the destruction like a king surveying his conquered territory. Mireille followed close behind, her red lips curved in a triumphant smile. "Finally," Minister Kwon announced loudly, "the great Jaewon Shin, trapped at his own wedding. How poetic." Jaewon pulled Hana deeper behind eyes locked on hers. "I wasn't talking about you." "I heard my death order from your own mouth." "The her I mentioned was Mireille." Jaewon's voice was raw, desperate for her to understand. "We discovered she planted a spy in my organization months ago. The plan was to fake your death after the wedding, give you a new identity, send you somewhere safe while we destroyed the Kwon family." Hana's mind spun. "What?" "You were never supposed to hear that conversation. I was trying to protect you, get you out before everything exploded." He gripped her hand tightly. "I would never hurt you, Hana. Never." Before she could process his words, Minister Kwon's voice cut through the gunfire. "Enough hiding, Shin. Come out now, or I start executing guests, beginning with that pretty bride of yours." Jaewon's jaw tightened. He looked at Hana with something she'd never seen before. Fear. Not for himself, for her. "Stay hidden," he commanded, "no matter what happens." He stood up, hands raised, stepping into Minister Kwon's line of fire. Hana watched through a gap in the altar, her heart pounding violently. "You've lost," Minister Kwon gloated. "Your empire, your reputation, your life. Everything you built ends tonight. You underestimate me. Always have." "Have I?"
Minister Kwan gestured at his army men. I have 50 soldiers. You have a handful of bodyguards. Your little bride betrayed you through her pathetic brother. Face reality, Shin. You're finished. Mireille stepped forward, producing a small pistol. Let me kill him, father. I've waited years for this moment. Patience, daughter. First, we eliminate the wife. No loose ends. Minister Kwan aimed his weapon directly at the altar, at Hana. Everything happened in seconds. A figure burst from the crowd of cowering guests. Sung-ho. He tackled Minister Kwan from behind, sending the gun flying. The shot went wild, hitting the ceiling instead of Hana. Minister Kwan's men turned in confusion. That moment of hesitation was enough. Dae-jung's team had been repositioning during the conversation. They opened fire from strategic positions, overwhelming the attackers from multiple angles. Minister Kwan's soldiers fell rapidly, their advantage crumbling. Mireille screamed with rage, aiming her pistol at Sung-ho. Jae-won moved faster, knocking the weapon away and restraining her with brutal efficiency. Within minutes, it was over. Minister Kwan knelt in handcuffs, his empire destroyed. Mireille sobbed beside him, her dreams of power shattered forever. Police sirens wailed outside, responding to reports of gunfire. Sung-ho lay on the marble floor, bleeding from a wound in his shoulder. Hana rushed to him, pressing her hands against the injury. Why? She cried. Why did you do that? Because you saved me first, Sung-ho whispered. My whole life, you sacrificed everything for me. I couldn't let you die because of my mistakes, not again. Paramedics arrived, taking Sung-ho away on a stretcher. He would survive. He would testify against Minister Kwan. He would finally become the man Hana always believed he could be. In the ruined ballroom, Jae-won found Hana standing among the destruction. Her wedding dress was torn. Blood stained her white skirt. Roses lay crushed beneath overturned furniture. I understand if you want to leave, he said quietly. I'll give you everything I promised. Money, new identities, freedom. You never have to see me again. Hana looked at him. Really looked. She saw the man who shielded her during gunfire, who planned elaborate schemes to keep her safe, who carried wounds from a mother who loved white roses. What if I don't want to leave? Hope flickered in his dark eyes, fragile, uncertain. This life is dangerous, he warned. Today proved that. I survived today. I survived thinking you betrayed me. I survived everything. She stepped closer. Maybe I'm stronger than either of us realized. She took his hand. Her wedding dress was ruined. Her makeup was smeared. Her fairy tale had nearly become a nightmare. But she was alive. They both were. I didn't marry you for love, she admitted softly. But somewhere along the way, something changed. I don't know what this feeling is yet, but I want to find out. Jae-won lifted her hand to his lips. His kiss was gentle against her bruised knuckles. Then we'll find out together. They walked out of the destroyed ballroom as husband and wife, not because of a contract, not because of debt or desperation, but because they chose each other. Outside, sunset painted Seoul in shades of rose and gold. Somewhere in the city, a new chapter was beginning. And in Hana's small flower shop, white roses waited patiently to bloom again.